How much is AC and heat in Portugal? Hey there, I'm Jorik. Welcome back to my page. As you know, I'm a U.S. expat living here in Lisbon, Portugal, and I try to give you information for designed specifically for people that are looking to move here or potentially retire to Portugal, to give you some on-the-ground information as opposed to necessarily when you look at cost of living indexes and things online. Some things aren't necessarily as accurate, they're a little outdated. So I'm here to try to give you information as up-to-date as I can give it as to what I know from our experience living here in Portugal. And a question somebody had asked me was, how much is your AC bill and how much is heat in the winter, if you even have that? So it got me thinking, going, well, I'm going to go through a couple of scenarios. I'll tell you what those costs are, but then I'm also going to let you know about our apartment and what we bought, because we bought an apartment without any AC or heat in it. So let's go through that first. When you're choosing a home or an apartment, there's an energy rating when you're looking at the listing, and you may not be paying any attention to it. If you're coming from the US or you're looking at things, it's much like the energy guide you see on your fridge or your washer or dryer, your stove, microwave, your hot water heater. Usually it's like an A to F or A to E range, A being the most efficient, D, E, F being the not so efficient. So when we were looking at our apartment, we knew that it had an E rating, which meant that there was no insulation in the walls, and it did not come with heat or cooling. So it didn't have central air, which is a thing in the US. It's not really a thing here in Europe, really, unless you have a single family home. But if you're living in a city center with apartments, that's hard to come by. So we have something called these mini splits, that in each room there's like a little unit, and then outside there's a bigger unit. So we ended up buying an apartment with nothing in it as far as heating or cooling. And we were thinking it was going to get hot and humid in the summertime, and it might get cold enough in the winter that we'd need it. So when we negotiated our price on our apartment, we knew we had additional costs. We were going to buy units. And our apartment is about 700 square feet, to put it in US terms. Not very big, but we have a living room, dining room, kitchen. That's kind of one big room. So we got a bigger unit for that room, and we have two bedrooms. So we bought small units for each of those rooms. And as we were looking online and going to construction stores, we were finding that most units, so for that setup, 3 units, AC/heating with an outdoor device, would be anywhere from about $2,000 to $2,500 US, but yeah, $2,000 to $2,500, all the way up to $5,000 US. So I'm going to try to keep it in US versus euros. So we went to a store called Leroy Merlin, which is the Portuguese version of Home Depot or Lowe's. And we were able to find these units and then have them installed. So we had an apartment that had an E rating, which was almost at the end of the scale as far as having nothing as far as heating and air conditioning. To once we installed them, then we would probably have a B rating. Our walls don't have any insulation in them. They're plaster and whatnot, but not we don't have any injected insulation in them. But we do have heat in the winter, and we do have cool in the summer. And we're very grateful that we had that expense, and we set aside and budgeted that when we bought the apartment, because most of the apartments in our building don't have anything. And many places in Portugal don't have heat in the winter or air conditioning in the summer. And part of that is being a poor country. Part of that is people have just dealt with the heat in the summer, and if it's been cool, the cold winter is just an extra blanket or an extra long johns underneath your clothes. we were not necessarily looking for that experience, so we made the expense to make sure that we had something that kept us comfortable and moderate, depending on what temperature was outside. But the question that people have asked me is, what's the cost? So now I've just described how much it cost to actually get units into an apartment that was not furnished with them. But our costs, so I'll go in the summertime as we're getting closer to summer. It's been, we paid $200 to $250 US for air conditioning, and that's running 1, 2, or all 3 units for parts of the day, or sometimes most of the day. And then in the winter time, it's been close to that as well. We've hit the 250 mark a couple of times. Now, what's interesting is when I say that, you're going, well, 250 a month, that seems expensive maybe by Portuguese standards. The bills are set up every 2 months, so we're paying the bill 6 times a year versus 12 times a year. And we can tell you from November, December, January, and into February, those 4 months, the heat, we can have a $200 bill. We've had up to a $250 bill. March, April, May, even into parts of June, we haven't used the units at all. Part of June, July, August, September, we have used the units for air, surely, and we've hit the 200 to 250 mark US for a 2 months worth of usage. And then when we're getting late September, October, again November, we haven't had to use it. We kind of have weighed, I was trying to, before making the video, think about how much we've used the air versus the heat. We've actually used the heat more than we thought we would. We haven't used the air as much as we thought we would. Based upon where Portugal's positioned, it's just been a little more cloudy, clammy, rainy, and cold in the year and a half that we've been here, as opposed to more warm and sunny, as the climate and temperature usually is. So that's some information about AC heating and cooling units, not just the cost to purchase them, but also what the cost is once you're in what we consider an average size apartment in Lisbon, Portugal. So I hope this is useful information for you. If it is, please click the like button to subscribe and get information on when I post videos, because I'm trying to give you a ton of information up to the month, if you will, or up to the quarter on what it's like to live in Lisbon, Portugal. So thanks so much and have a great day.